It's 2:34 a.m. on the 14th of September 2025. Over the dark waters of the Caribbean, a black triangle moves silently at 52,000 feet. It's a B-2 Spirit, the most secret aircraft ever built, flying 200 miles north of Venezuela's coast. Inside, two pilots sit in total calm, no chatter, just the sound of their breathing. Spirit, green to proceed, a voice says through the secure radio. The pilot flips a switch. The bomb bay doors slide open. 16 2,000-pound JDAMs hang ready, each with a hardened BLU-109 warhead built to crack bunkers like eggs. The doors stay open for exactly 43 seconds. Release, release, release. One by one, the bombs drop away into the darkness. Down below, Puerto Cabello sleeps. A fuel farm glows faintly under yellow lights. 3 frigates rest at the pier, engines off. No one knows what's coming. Then, a single siren wails from the base. Too late to change anything. 7 minutes remain before the first impact rewrites the night. Puerto Cabello isn't just a harbor. It's the heartbeat of Venezuela's Navy, the place where ships are repaired, fueled, and armed before they sail into the Caribbean. Beneath its concrete lies an entire network of bunkers packed with missiles, torpedoes, and shells. Above it, a massive dry dock keeps the biggest ships alive. Take it down, and the country's fleet becomes a collection of floating shells with nowhere to run, nowhere to refuel, and no command to follow. Strategically, it's the perfect target. From international airspace, a stealth bomber like the B-2 can strike deep without crossing a border. Every key system, ammo, fuel, command, repair, sits within a tight 5-mile radius. Destroy those, and the entire naval grid collapses. That's not just smart targeting. It's a message. Control the network, and you control the sea. But for the people on the ground, it isn't strategy. It's life. The night crews know every sound in that base. They drink the same bitter coffee, fix the same machines, and trust that their alarms will always warn them in time. They don't see politics. They see their brothers, their tools, and the ships they've kept running for years. None of them imagine that tonight, silence will fail them. The strike that's coming isn't random. It's built from months of rising tension. A downed American jet, an attack on civilians abroad, and the planting of naval mines on international shipping routes worth hundreds of billions in trade. Washington's message is clear. The cost of provocation has limits, and those limits have just been crossed. And that's the question hanging in the air tonight. Was this justice, or an act that pushed the world closer to the edge? If you believe it was a necessary strike, press 1. If you think it went too far, hit 9 and tell us why. The bombs are already on their way. Time to impact about 7 minutes and 40 seconds. Inside the port command center, the night watch moves slow. A technician scrolls through radar blips humming by the coffee maker. Nothing looks strange. A petty officer nearby checks a laminated list and taps a pen. Routine. Familiar. It keeps the nerves calm. At 2:27 a.m., a radar analyst spots a faint return on the long-range screen, something small, not on any flight plan. He tags it as low priority. The alert goes into a queue, waiting for review. It will be seen again, but too late. High above, the B-2 crew moves through final checks. The pilot confirms navigation. The weapons officer confirms all 16 JDAMs are green. The bomber flies steady and silent. The KC-135 tanker that fueled them is now just a fading dot on the log. Inside the cockpit, the voices are short, measured, calm. At 2:34 a.m., the bomb bay opens for 43 seconds. Twice, the radar signature spikes expected, brief, dangerous. The crew stays locked on the countdown. Release, release, release. 16 bombs drop in rhythm 2 seconds apart, gliding into the dark. Each one wakes, spreads its fins, and follows its GPS line. 2,000 pounds each. Designed to go in deep, not wide. On the ground, a guard on the pier catches a white streak in the sky and shouts into his radio. The watch officer hesitates, thinks it's a meteor. Another streak follows. Then the world answers. The first impacts drive through reinforced roofs. exploding inside the bunkers that store missiles and torpedoes. The blast doesn't echo, it presses. Air turns solid, folding metal and snapping doors from their frames. A power line falls, a lamp shatters. One sailor later says the air smelled like hot iron and diesel. He remembers tasting copper. People move on instinct. A chief grabs a radio, shouting orders already too late. A seaman pulls a foam hose with shaking hands. An engineer at the dry dock hits a jammed valve again and again. Somewhere, someone pulls a lever and a lifeboat drops into water already burning. 7 minutes and 40 seconds long enough to erase routine, too short to prepare. The base is no longer commanding, it is surviving. And that is the thin line between control and chaos. If you were in that command room, would you fight, freeze, or run? Type 1 for courage, 9 for survival, and don't forget to subscribe to see how this night turned into history. The bunkers go first. Inside them sit crates of missiles, mines, and artillery shells stacked tight in reinforced concrete made to resist normal blasts, not a 2,000-pound penetrator. The first 4 J-dams dive fast, punching through thick roofs before exploding deep underground. The earth seems to inhale, then exhale flame. 4 blasts merge into one rolling shockwave that shakes windows miles away and lifts the sea against the docks. For a moment, there's silence. Then the secondaries start. Dozens of buried warheads ignite in a chain reaction. Storage bunkers vanish into craters 30 feet wide. A flash, brighter than lightning, turns night to white for 3 long seconds. On the pier, the Mariscal Sucre takes the first direct hit. The bomb pierces midship, ripping through decks before detonating in the engine room. Diesel fuel erupts. The crew has minutes to escape before the frigate sinks beneath the surface, trailing black smoke. Almirante Brion is next. The blast near her turbines kills power and floods compartments. 20 minutes later, she slips under. Flying debris sets fire to the General Urdaneta, tied beside her. By dawn, 3 of Venezuela's 4 main frigates are gone. Across the yard, 2 bombs hit the dry dock. Concrete gates collapse, water floods in, and a corvette under repair tilts sideways. Cranes crash into the basin. The last major repair site becomes a pond of wreckage. Then the command bunker takes its hits. The roof caves, lights die, and radios cut mid-sentence. Across the fleet, orders stop coming. Ships float blind. Finally, the fuel farm erupts. 10 million gallons of diesel ignite in one massive blast. A column of fire climbs hundreds of feet, heat bending towers and melting hoses in sailors' hands. Trucks flip, alarms vanish under the roar. When the noise fades, Puerto Cabello glows red under its own smoke. The air smells of burned steel and salt. The sea hisses against molten debris. Fire teams rotate through smoke, sharing masks and water, pulling lines by hand when pumps fail. A backup radar stutters on a small tower range short, but enough to guide ambulances and tugs through the haze. Hope is thin, yet they move anyway. The twist isn't another explosion, it's the silence that follows. In less than 15 minutes, the strongest naval base in Venezuela has gone dark. No orders, no signals, no power. The command bunker is gone. The fuel tanks burn like torches, and every ship that still floats is trapped in place. Engines silent, guns cold, radios dead. On the surviving frigates, sailors move through smoke-filled decks, shouting names and dragging hoses through melted steel. The only light comes from the fires still burning across the harbor. A petty officer pounds the radio console again and again, but only static answers. No response. Command is gone, he says quietly. Then for a moment, a tiny radar tower near the pier flickers on. It catches one brief signal far above the clouds. Someone whispers, "They're coming back." But the B-2 is already gone hundreds of miles north, invisible, engines humming at cruising altitude. The bomber doesn't need to return. Its 16 bombs did everything they were meant to. No one on the ground realizes it yet, but the radar flare during the bomb drop wasn't a mistake, it was the plan. When the bay doors opened, The stealth jet's radar image spiked just long enough to pull Venezuelan eyes upward, away from the coast where the weapons were already falling. Those 6 seconds of distraction changed history. By dawn, the harbor is still burning. Fire teams move barefoot because the ground is too hot for boots. Medics run from one sailor to another, whispering words no one remembers. The city sky is black, the sea is orange, and the smell of diesel hangs over everything. The Navy hasn't been beaten, it has been erased. Morning breaks over Puerto Cabello, but the light feels wrong. Thick black smoke hides the sun, and the air tastes of metal and ash. The harbor still burns. 3 frigates lie broken at the pier, half sunk, their masts leaning over the water. The dry dock is flooded, cranes twisted and silent. Every few seconds, something small explodes: an ammo box, a fuel drum, a forgotten shell. Sailors form a human chain, passing buckets of seawater, faces gray with soot. "Keep it moving," one shouts, voice raw. Foam trucks crawl through debris. A medic kneels beside a burned officer, checks for a pulse, then moves on. The heat is so intense that helmets warp, but no one stops. At the far end of the base, the fuel farm still burns. Diesel pours into the water, turning the surface into a black mirror. A helicopter circles once, then pulls away. The air is too hot to fly low. Inside the ruins of the tower, a team searches for survivors. One finds a notebook of crew names, half burned. He closes it quietly. A lieutenant covered in ash looks at the wreckage and whispers, "All gone." He isn't talking about ships. He's talking about everything that gave the Navy its rhythm, fuel, command, hope. Without this base, the fleet is no longer a force. It's a memory. By mid-morning, the flames begin to fade. A dark column of smoke rises 60 miles into the sky. Ash drifts down on nearby houses. Civilians stand outside, silent, staring at what used to be their harbor. Far offshore, operators on surviving ships receive a single transmission: "Base destroyed. Do not return." It's not an order, it's a farewell. High above, the B-2 Spirit heads north in silence. The pilot logs the mission complete. The radio stays quiet, only the steady hum of engines at 50,000 feet. The strike lasted less than 20 minutes, but its echo will last for decades. For the first time, technology erased an entire navy without a single visible enemy. The message is clear. In modern war, precision isn't mercy, it's dominance. If you're watching this, what do you think defines power now, numbers or precision? Type 1 if you believe in technology, 9 if you still believe in courage. And don't forget to subscribe for the final chapter: what happens after the smoke clears. When the smoke clears, Puerto Cabello is unrecognizable. The once busy naval port is a gray wasteland of steel, mud, and silence. The air still smells of diesel and burned paint. 4 frigates rest at the bottom of the harbor. The dry dock is gone, flooded and cracked. The command center has collapsed into its own crater. The fuel farm is a field of twisted pipes. Reports list 283 dead, more than 500 wounded, and millions of gallons of fuel lost. But the deeper loss is strategic. Venezuela's Navy has lost more than ships. It has lost its ability to move, communicate, and fight. Every surviving vessel is stranded without supplies or command. For a Navy built over decades, it's not defeat, it's disappearance. Analysts later called the strike one of the most effective single aircraft missions in modern history. One bomber from Missouri destroyed an entire naval command in less than 20 minutes. It did what once required fleets, squadrons, and days of battle. Globally, the reaction is mixed. Allies quietly praise the precision, but warn it opens a new era where one plane can erase a navy overnight. Rivals condemn it, but even they study it. Every radar operator now knows what 6 minutes of distraction can cost. Inside Venezuela, grief turns to silence. Funerals stretch for days. Families hold photos of those lost. The president vows to rebuild, but everyone knows it won't be soon. Ships can be replaced. Command and trust cannot. For Washington, it's labeled a defensive precision strike. The message is clear. Control of the sea no longer depends on numbers, but on who can strike first and vanish without a trace. The age of loud wars is ending. The next may begin in silence. If you believe the balance of power just changed forever, press 1. If you think this strike went too far, press 9. And subscribe now because the next episode reveals how the world reacts when silence becomes the new weapon of war.